Buying a home? Don't panic. Just listen to the rest of this podcast. Okay, today's guest is YC from SoCal Seismic Construction.
Yes, sir.
AKA house bolting. So anyway, I want to get right into this because, today we're going to talk about foundations, everybody. I've been trying to get a foundation contractor. Oh, did I say contractor?
You did.
A foundation person on the show here for quite some time. A lot of the foundation guys I've met so far have been kind of introverts and they don't like to talk. And they just flat out said that. I'm like, oh, I understood.
Right,
That's cool. Then I met you and I can't shut you up.
There we go.
So that's why he's here. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about is poured concrete raised foundations. So I got some pointed questions for you. And this is coming from my experience on the job as a home inspector. And that's because, I have to report cracks.
Right.
And I have to report, moisture intrusion. I have to report, lack of anchoring and house bolting and all that stuff. So, first question is this is for homeowners. How common are foundation cracks?
That's a great question. Very common. I would say that if we inspect 10 homes, 9 of them with the raised foundation are going to have cracks. The question is, how severe are the cracks? That's really the question. Right.
Now, does a foundation crack indicate the house is going to collapse?
No. Depends on, the direction of the crack. Majority of the time, the cracks are vertical and they can easily be repaired. So It's not like you're going to freak out and you're going to fall through your floor.
Exactly. And that's the biggest fear my customers have. And I this is a daily thing for me. And so I have to approach this with very monotone voice.
Right.
You have a crack. I'm not going to go, oh my God, you have a crack.
Right.
It's all about how you say it.
All right.
Oh, okay. So what do we do? Well, you have a foundation person come out, and what they'll do is they'll probably recommend filling it and then bolting it.
Correct.
Does it mean it's going to come back? That's a question for you.
Yep. Majority of the cracks around the perimeter of stem wall foundation or cripple wall foundation are actually caused by drainage, so improper drainage.
Right.
So ultimately, it could be a one-time fix and you're done. We do a epoxy injection and we strap it.
Yep.
And we usually never have to come back and do anything after that.
The building is not doomed if you have foundation cracks, unless we get to a more severe crack, which we will get to soon.
Yes.
So horizontal crack versus vertical cracks, which is worse?
Horizontal.
Okay. And why is that?
Good question. Horizontal cracking indicates foundation failure. Rebar, the structural component of the concrete, it's the metal, it runs horizontally. So when you have that horizontal crack, you automatically have foundation failure. So if you were to think about horizontal cracks versus vertical, automatically just remember horizontal is worse right off the bat.
Right.
Especially if you could see that rebar coming through, even worse at that point. But automatically we can't just go and put epoxy and straps.
Exactly. So on that note, I got some photos here to look at.
See it.
All right. So this is one of your images right here. Thank you for the visual aids. Very helpful.
Sure.
So what we're looking at here on photo 1 here is we got a vertical crack on the left, and that's before the repair. And as you can see on the right, it's got the epoxy filling. By the way, the epoxy, is there a certain type of epoxy?
It's a good question. So we actually do epoxy and a concrete mix. Gives it a little bit of a thicker, texture. Epoxy itself in general has a little bit of a runny water type of texture to it. So ours is mixed with concrete.
So is this something I can go buy at Home Depot when it's in a caulking gun?
No, it's a nipple system.
Okay.
You could buy them from suppliers, but you got to know what you're doing. We don't just shoot it in. It's basically starts in the bottom and it works its way up with the nipple pattern, and we fill in each nipple as we go.
I see. Start from the bottom, work your way up. Okay, cool. All right, and as far as the metal straps go, you get 12 bolts. Now, how long are those bolts?
The average is 1/2 inch by 5 inch, so 5 inches in
5 inch depth.
Yeah, yep.
Well, that's pretty deep.
Yep. And then it depends on the height of the crack. Sometimes we just have to put one strap, depending on the height of the foundation. Majority of cracks do require 2 straps, though. Majority of them.
Okay,
especially if it's a corner crack.
Okay, so have you ever inspected a house where the foundation was complete failure all the way around?
Oh yeah, happens all the time. We inspect them on the weekly basis, unfortunately.
Hillsides?
Not only hillsides, regular flat lots. You'll have that. Yep. A lot of the times, people ask me, how long does concrete last? What is the lifespan of concrete? It's a good question, but ultimately, if you really think about it, it depends on so many factors. But the biggest one would be, what do you think, John? Biggest factor would be
the outdoor conditions.
There you go. The drainage.
Is there any drainage?
Yep.
Is there any rain gutters? Do you have a negative grade?
100%.
All those things. It's always the same problem.
Right.
It's always going to be the same problem.
Almost always, and it speeds up the process.
And some houses are a perfect storm. They have everything against them.
Oh yeah.
And I've actually seen those houses. I'm like, you know what? You got a perfect storm. You're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you got no gutters.
Right.
You got negative grade. You've got a hillside over here running right onto your property with no retaining wall. You get nothing but water coming right towards this building.
Right.
It's been like that for 60, 70 years, depending on how old the house was.
Yep.
So those are very common finds right there.
And another side point on that would be, majority of those houses that we do see that you're mentioning right now, have the most beautiful landscape because they have so much water. The roses are always blossoming.
Yeah.
The fruit trees have the most amazing fruits and the homeowner's always so proud. I've lived here for 45, 50 years and I'm just thinking, oh man,
That's what they all say. I've been here 40 years and that water heater works fine.
All right. There you go.
So you never changed it? Okay.
She's just showering with cold water.
Right. And what's the, I think you mentioned this already, but I'm going to ask it again.
Sure.
What's the visual, when I'm looking at a foundation under a house as a home inspector or even a homeowner?
Yeah.
What's the visual part of it that's going to determine foundation failure?
Good question. So I wouldn't use the word foundation failure until we get underneath because, the visual from the outside, the exterior, or even inside, you can't really determine if it's foundation failure. But I could give you a few signs. The first thing would be doors above the cracks, cracks above the doors and windows at a 45 degrees. So, if you have those 45-degree cracks coming off, that usually indicates settlement. If you step outside away from the front door and kind of just look at the house visually, take a look at the rain gutters. Are they, leading underneath the house? Are they, the rain gutter downspout, is it right by the soil of the house?
Right.
All these little things. Do you even have rain gutters? So a lot of the times you'll have these, these factors come into play. Those are the most common things: interior cracks, unlevel floors.
Now, give it to me when you go under the house, and now tell me what if I was under there and I saw what do you think would tell me?
Yeah. So during the inspection, the property and surroundings are inspected for, foundation, drainage, seismic retrofitting, reinforcing, things like that, beams, posts, cracks.
Right.
Ultimately you have to understand that the weight of the home sits on the perimeter. A lot of people think that the weight of the home sits on the posts and piers. That just holds the floor.
Really? People think that?
A lot of people think that.
Wow.
If you take out the posts and piers, the whole house will fall. That's not the case. The weight of the home sits on the perimeter. So the most important thing for us right off the bat when we first go out there is we do a perimeter check. We check the entire perimeter. We look for settlement. We look for gaps between the sill plate and the foundation. Mm-hmm. We determine the age before we even start crawling. How old is this house? Deteriorated concrete, exposed rebar, horizontal cracks. And, if you look at the foundation, you have all those issues. We're not necessarily calling out a foundation replacement, but there are factors that determine what we're going to do to repair it.
Right, gotcha. Okay, so here's something I run into a bit inside garages on older homes. The floors that seem to be lifting. Mm-hmm. Is that called uplift?
Yep, uplift. Yep. That's
okay, so now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I got this one.
Let's hear it.
The garage floor is not part of the foundation. It's simply a floor.
Correct.
Because on the edges of all that floor, you're going to have your stem wall for the garage.
Correct.
That's built when the rest of the house is built typically. Unless it was an add-on that was added later.
Right.
Additional garage. So when I see that, I'm not calling that out as a foundation problem. I'm calling that out as a concrete floor problem.
Right.
And there's a couple ways to deal with it. You can grind it down and then fill the cracks so it's not a trip hazard. Or you can replace it.
Right.
So what causes the uplift?
Good question. So majority of the uplift would be caused by two things. The first thing I would say is something called hydrostatic pressure. So you have that pressure coming from below and kind of pushing up on it. That pressure could be water, it could be high water table area. Mm-hmm. Certain parts of Eagle Rock have that where you have that high water table area and you'll have that, slab lift up. Ultimately, if you really think about it, majority of those people like to sand out, grind out, whatever you want to call it, and they epoxy it.
Yeah.
So, it looks good, has a great finish on it, but it's not a structural component of the home.
Right.
It's a separate pour.
That's important.
That's a very important thing. And I think that if you look at new construction builds in general, when they're building the house, a lot of the times they'll finish pouring in the garage later on because they store heavy equipment in there, their bobcats, whatever it is, while they're in that meantime of transitioning to a new job site, or they're storing all their tiles. So a lot of times it's unfinished. Right. So people think, I've, garage slabs, my house is falling down.
It's not
You
the
could
case.
jackhammer it and re-pour if you want.
Yeah, unless it's a post tension.
Don't touch post tension.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in another section.
Don't if you have a stamp on your garage floor and it says post tension,
Do not saw cut.
do not saw cut.
Yeah, we have a story about that.
Yeah, don't be breaking out the saw and
That's
just
right.
testing it.
That's right. Not a good idea.
Yeah, that's a different type of thing. But I'm not really talking about that right now. I'm only talking about the traditional garage slabs where the floors are lifting up. And I always do express that to my customers. This is not a foundation problem here. This is something else causing this.
Yep.
It doesn't mean your house is falling down. You can fix it. You can redo it, or you can just repair it.
Yep. And I would say that would be 95% of the time. The other 5% would be different factors. Unpermitted build on a hillside. You have hillside
and fill,
things
cut
like
and
that.
fill,
Yeah, that's a different story.
That's a whole different topic right there.
That's right.
Okay, so the causes of a vertical crack are typically just from settlement, lack of drainage.
Yeah, I would say the majority of vertical cracks are caused by the exterior drainage. So you have that, water coming through, the water intrusion,
Right.
softens up the soil, gets a little mushy. You have that settlement, and then that stress crack just, goes vertical.
Right.
So you're correct. It's
Okay.
99% of them are caused by that.
Let's dive into that a bit now. So we briefly discussed that already, but let's just nail it home here. So once again, it's the exteriors of the home that cause the problems under the home.
Majority of them, yes.
Yes, majority of them. And this is something I have to write up on a daily basis.
Right.
I go to a house, first thing I'm looking for as I'm walking are drains. No drains. Recommend adding some drains. Then I'll walk around, I'll look some more. No rain gutters.
Yep.
Oh, we don't need rain gutters in California. Yeah, you do.
Yep.
And I've made specific videos on this on my on my YouTube channel, so check them out, and you'll get the point. Lack of rain gutters does more than just damage your foundation. It damages your siding. It damages your windows and doors. A lot of things can also happen from a lack of drainage, depending on where what kind of house you have and how it's laid out on the outside. No drains around the house. No rain gutters. And if you do have rain gutters, the downspouts are terminating at the foundation, which is a no-no.
Yep.
Because that's just going to pool water. So what I always recommend to my customers is, look, it's not raining today, so I can't tell you how your yard's going to perform under heavy, heavy water. So the best thing you can do, get your raincoat on when it's downpouring and walk your property. You'll learn so much about your property.
Right.
And then take pictures. Don't just remember it in your brain, because when you call a contractor in the summer, when you want him to fix all those things, he's going to get any photos.
Right.
So unless there's clear evidence of standing water stains or any kind of water ponding around areas, they're not going to know. So videotape or take pictures of these heavy ponding areas so you can show the person that's going to fix it for you.
Yep.
It's a great tip.
Yep. Another thing I would mention on that, John, would be, just because you have rain gutters and you have a rain gutter downspout, or if you get a rain gutter extension from Home Depot, telescoping, if you have soil touching the side of the home, no matter what, you're going to have to fix that area.
Yeah.
So even if it's not raining and you're just looking out on a regular, hot summer day, no matter what, you're going to have to correct that area.
Yeah. Yeah. So you want to make sure your grade slopes away from your house.
Correct.
So in the event of heavy rains, it doesn't go towards your house and sit. You want it to go away as much as possible. There will still be some residual water getting in and some moisture. You can't stop it completely, but you can definitely stop the bleeding.
Yeah. We always suggest waterproofing those areas, because once you seal off the foundation, you're not going to have that water intrusion. It's going to completely seal it. But people don't remember that. You have to remember that concrete itself isn't waterproof. People think they're going to pour concrete on the side of their house and they're fine.
Right.
Concrete absorbs all that water and goes right underneath.
So does stucco.
That's
so
right.
when you have these older homes with the stucco, they used to run it into the soil and then they push the soil up against it. That's going to wick water up. Right. And I am living proof of that. It happened on the back of my garage here, and I can show you that later.
You watered it all out?
When I bought the house, the rear concrete pad that the guy had some sheds on was too high, and it was run right into the stucco.
Oh, and the stucco. Okay,
into the stucco.
Yep.
And then it couldn't drain, and my whole wall started absorbing water. Oh, wow. And I found out because I was finishing off the inside of the garage. And I'm like, why is there stains right there? And I put a moisture meter on it. The thing was soaked.
Wow.
I had to stop everything, go outside, jackhammer up that whole thing.
Wow, not fun.
Cut off the stucco. I cut the stucco from the ground, and I made a nice 3-inch space and put some weep screed in.
On the bottom, yep.
fixed
You're
it.
lucky that's one section. Imagine a whole house.
I know.
That's what, you know what I mean?
So that's a real thing. So water
yeah.
does wick up inside stucco. So it's concrete. It's concrete. It's a mixture of sand
I consider
and concrete.
it like a straw. Just
it
absorbs.
And if you got insulation inside that wall and the paper's bad, you're going to have mold.
Yep. Got to replace that.
Now you're talking about more problems. Okay, so let's touch on waterproofing a little more. So to waterproof a foundation, you have to excavate all the dirt out.
Correct.
And how much of that dirt are you removing? Like 2 feet from the wall?
Good question. So it just depends on how far to get down to the bottom of the footing.
I see.
The average we horizontally from the house, I would say we average about 4 feet.
Okay.
In length.
Yeah.
For our crew to get in there, they have to dig to the bottom of the footing. To pressure wash and sandblast the entire foundation wall to make sure that it's completely clean. Otherwise, it's not going to stick properly.
Wow.
They fix any cracks at that point.
That's a part I wasn't aware of.
Yep. And then they go ahead and tar it. After they tar it, they apply a waterproof membrane. Then, depending on the situation, we're adding drains, backfilling.
So you're actually covering the footing as well.
Correct. We go all the way to the bottom of the footing.
Wow.
Yeah, we go as far as we can go with concrete.
And while you're at it, you got that all dug out. Are you also recommending drains be put in that area?
Exactly. So it really depends on the house, but majority of the time we're adding a drain, below grade drain. Then we, have a surface drain on top. We have to backfill. We have rocks and mesh, so there's a jam and
You're making
clog.
a burrito.
That's right. One that doesn't give you food poisoning.
All right, cool. Okay, so as far as horizontal foundation cracks that are not so common, the main issue for that is moisture.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes. And the majority of the times you'll see that would be on the other side of the foundation, have a planter.
Yes.
You'll have a planter that the homeowner is so proud of, that they're watering for all these years.
Okay, so we got some pictures right here.
Yeah, here they are.
Courtesy of SoCal Seismic House Bolting.
There you go.
That's
right.
Okay, so these are your photos, and what we're looking at here is you can see the horizontal cracks on the stem walls right here. And then on the middle picture, you can actually see the rusted rebar.
Correct.
So when rebar gets really wet, just so people understand, it expands and it just kind of like breaks out of the shell of the concrete. It's amazing that happens.
It's hatching.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. I mean, if you think about the concept of how that metal expands, that's why you have that horizontal crack. And this middle picture was taken by one of our inspectors, but this is that section right here.
Right.
So he just, peeled off that corner and
right.
Look what happened.
Well, let me show you some of my finds.
Let's see it.
I got some of those in here too.
There you are.
Look at that one. So that's a partition wall.
Yep. So that's the middle of the home.
And that's at least 10 feet to 12 feet long.
And look how wet that is.
Yep.
Yep.
So this particular house was in Playa del Rey area.
Yep.
The entire crawl space was wet. I put my robot in there.
Yeah, you're not doing the crawl on that.
Well, I just use a crawl bot a lot. Yeah. So if it works, I utilize it. If it doesn't, I have to get in. So the first thing that goes in, that's my recon guy. He goes and checks everything out, make sure there's no animals or dead bodies.
Yeah, we always just crawl it.
Yeah. So anyway, so that this whole, as you can see, if you look at the tires on the corner of the picture, you see all the mud on my tires.
Yep.
So this whole thing was like this, and then it gets even better. Let me show you the next shot.
There it is. There's
so
the
this
rebar.
is the partition wall opposite the opening on the left. So as you can see there, that foundation is just saturated.
Yep.
That rebar has just come out, and it looks like that rebar is a little bit close to the edge there too. What do you think?
Well, it is a corner.
Yeah.
But ultimately you have all that moisture crossing through. So I mean, even if it wasn't, you would still have that failure.
Okay, so with a situation like this, are you talking about replacing that partition wall?
Yes. We have no choice but to replace it.
So you literally resupport, cut it out, and re-pour it?
Yep. We don't do sister foundations in general because the weight of the home still sits on the existing foundation that has failure. If our engineer designs something different, then we'll obviously implement that. But the first thing to do would be fix the drainage.
No. That's not my question. My question is, how would you repair this?
To do a replacement.
So, but I mean, what are the steps?
Step one, we're going to have to support the floor joist.
Okay.
Then we're going to have to jackhammer all the concrete away.
Okay.
And then we have to re-pour. So we excavate, we dig down, but we won't fix that until we fix the drainage.
Right.
Because then you're paying for nothing.
So this is all on your belly work.
Oh yeah.
This is like intense manual labor.
Where was the access point?
The access point was just to the left.
How many feet would you say?
I'd say about 20.
20 feet. So in a particular situation like this, 20 feet I mean, think about hauling concrete 20 feet. Usually we'll just cut a new access point.
Yeah.
Make it easy for the guys to work. A lot of people say, oh, another company came out here. We have foundation failure, but the access point is right above that same area. Well, now we're going through your house. It's still easier to cut an exterior.
Yeah, you don't want to go
access.
through someone's house.
Like,
and all that stuff.
So it's not a fun project. It's a lot of labor work, and it obviously does cost. I can't give you an exact number, but they average, $15,000, $20,000 depending on the section you're replacing.
Right.
It really depends. And this is not the perimeter of the home. This is the middle. It's a little bit different.
So that's why everybody listening, that's why it's so expensive to do foundation work. You literally got to support the weight of the house and then remove something.
Yeah. It's a lot of labor work.
You get safety first. They got to make sure this thing's not going to implode on them and fall down.
And then within our own crew, every crew has a foreman, and he's going to be the one to determine how many guys he's going to allow underneath the house. If it's tight working conditions, he's not letting his whole crew go under there. So he'll divide the crew with another job for that day until there's enough space and access for everyone to work safely. Right. So that's our number one priority when it comes down to this.
And you guys do sometimes have to trench out to remove dirt to do your work.
Oh,
right?
we're doing it today. Yeah.
And then put it back in.
Yep. If we need to put it back in, sometimes it's just high soil underneath the house.
I see.
A lot of times you'll find a house with extremely high soil levels, and you're thinking, where will this soil come from? And then you'll remember there's an addition on the house. And instead of the contractor hauling out all that soil, he threw it under the main house and rotted out all the posts and piers. So we're working on that right now, but it happens all the time. We see this all the time, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah. So people always ask, where did the soil come from? That's where it usually came from.
That was one of my main questions for you today was on foundations. Is the how much actual work goes into these repairs? And so, like, as a home inspector, I have to relay this message. Hey, look, I can see rebar that's been rusted, and your foundation is failure. It's failure. So would you recommend to a home inspector, if you see something like this in the picture I previously showed you, do you think it's safe for us to say you have a section of your foundation that's failed?
So I wouldn't use the word failure because it sounds like you're now calling out shots that might be beyond
my scope
of work. And I'm not saying that in a bad way.
Right.
They're just going to reference, well, John said I have failure. You know what I mean? They're going to,
I know how it works.
So I would just recommend, having, foundation company come out there versus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus calling it out. It's kind of the same thing we like to mention to homeowners and home inspectors about, up to code bolts and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's obviously a problem.
Yeah. All right. So calling it out the way I've been calling it out should be fine.
Yeah.
Even though I know what it is.
You won't catch a claim. You'll be good. You're good.
All right. So that's so what we just discussed right here was raised stem walls, and we're going to get into other types in a minute. But anything else you want to add to just general cracks? Any kind of stuff you want to add that I might not have mentioned to you?
It's a good question. I would mention and I keep going back to this because it's such a big point. Is that, and this is an attention to all homeowners. Mm-hmm. When you go to a property, or when you go to a house, or you go to a friend's house and everything like that, you could also mention it to your friends, to your buddies. A lot of people just think it's their own house. I mean, think about your family members, your friends.
Yeah.
You go over there for a barbecue, point it out to them. I think that, having a rain gutter extension, worst comes to worst as your last resort will still save you on foundation issues.
Right.
Just, $10 from Home Depot makes a big difference.
Sure.
So
you can try to stop the bleeding for the most minimal cost.
Right.
And that would be one of them right there.
Yep.
But like I said, it's crucial to just walk your property when it's really, really down, not when it's sprinkling, when it's downpouring. Just look at what your yard's doing. How's it dealing with the water? I mean, you'll learn a lot from that.
Yeah.
You will. Because I've been to inspections in the downpours.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, same here.
I opened up the garage door, and there's 5 feet of water in the garage, at least an inch deep, at least an inch deep. Yep. And I was like, "Come here, guys, you need to see this." Right. I pulled everybody from inside. Come look at this right here, because it's a lot easier to show you.
Oh yeah, visually, yeah.
So yeah, that was a real thing, and I actually added that to one of my videos I put out on my YouTube channel too, because I was like, "Wow, that's really important for people to see that."
Yeah, and all of our inspectors are trained, to find negative grade, negative slopes, things like that prior to the rain. But you are right. Ultimately, the best scenario would be when it is downpouring.
Right. So one question I have here, going back to photo 1 here.
Yeah.
If I told a customer, hey, you get 3 cracks that look just like this.
Yep.
What's that cost?
It's a good question. So, I mean, the average price for a crack repair is usually $350 average price. It's not crazy.
Right.
But again, we have to determine what caused it in the first place.
Right.
Sometimes they're hairline cracks, so we don't even recommend fixing them.
Right.
But it just depends. I mean, that's your average price.
Right.
It could vary. Sometimes you were charging $1,500, sometimes charging $900. It really depends. There's so many different factors.
Okay. So one thing I noticed about you so far, this is the second time I've met you in person. It seems like you really care about what's causing these problems as opposed to just going there and getting a check and leaving.
Correct. And I think a lot of companies just go in there and fix it and leave. It's kind of unethical if you think about it.
It is.
I was mentioning at my presentation in Long Beach that it's like, giving somebody a Porsche with 3 tires. I mean, it looks good, but it's not going to perform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
If you have a crack here, it's almost like the foundation is kind of talking to you.
Right.
What caused it? We'll go ahead and fix it, but
right. And if you have a really good home inspector, he may have already determined that for you.
That's right.
We know what to look for.
I know who to refer.
Yeah, so I'll be referring you because, like I said, second time meeting you, and I like talking to you, and it seems like you really give a shit about what you're doing for customers.
And all our 32 employees too. They're all very dedicated, and
that's a lot.
They're on the field, and they're all hardworking. So
that's good.
It's not me. It's all my guys on the field.
Yeah, it's a team.
Yep,
it's a team.
And the office. Can't forget about the office.
Yes, and I met your assistant. Yep,
there you go.
And what's her name again?
Yulia.
Yulia.
Yep.
Yulia. Hi, Yulia.
There you go. Shout out to Yulia. And Isabella.
Oh, I think I met her. You kind of mentioned on the repair for the really bad, that was just a partition wall. So would a partition wall repair be any different than a perimeter wall?
It's almost the same.
Same thing.
Yeah. It's easier to do a perimeter wall than a partition wall.
Really?
Yeah. So in the middle of the home versus you can access it from the exterior. It's right there.
Yeah.
Crawl in, crawl out. Sometimes our engineer will design a post and pier assembly system. So we just basically lift it up off that area and support both sides. Mm-hmm. Then we don't have to touch it. But I can't call that shot till the engineer designs it. Majority of the case, they don't like doing that.
All right. So let me end this segment here with reminding everybody, if you're buying a home, don't panic, as the shirt says. And if you have a foundation crack, don't panic, because typically it can just be repaired.
Yep.
And it's not the end of the world. Stop watching those bad YouTube videos out there and stay off TikTok.
There's a lot of those. There's a lot of those bad videos freaking people out.
Wow. The number one thing that people, I will tell a customer, oh, by the way, you have a 35-year-old HVAC system. Your water heater's 20 years old.
Yep.
I'll tell them all this stuff, and it goes in one ear, out the other.
Yep.
And then can I show you something, John? Sure. They show me a hairline crack on the drywall inside the house. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Stop thinking like that.
Right.
That's cosmetic. If I told you I can't open your doors and your windows are all stuck and you got floor deflection everywhere, and I told you got 40 foundation cracks.
Different story.
Yep. All right. So thanks for coming on the show.
Sure. Appreciate it.
We have many more segments to get to, so he will be back.
That's right.